You've probably heard of the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, right? It's a total game changer for understanding what makes some companies just, well, great. Today, we're going to take that exact framework and use it like an X-ray to look at something really interesting happening in the Indian stationery market. We're putting DOMS Industries under the microscope to figure out what's really going on. Okay, just look at this for a second. On one side, you've got DOMS. On the other, competitors like Flair and Kikuyo Camlin. They're all in the same business, selling pretty much the same stuff to the same people. But man, their stock performance could not be more different. It's a classic business mystery, and we're going to solve it.
And this whole situation just begs the big question, doesn't it? What is that secret sauce? What's the invisible engine that takes a company from being just fine to being absolutely dominant? To figure that out, we need the right tools for the job. And our main tool today is going to be that good to great framework. Think of it like a blueprint or a set of special goggles that'll let us see what's happening behind the scenes at DOMS.
Now, at the heart of this whole thing is a concept called the flywheel. See, greatness doesn't happen overnight. It's not one big dramatic moment. It's more like pushing a giant, heavy flywheel. The first push is tough, so is the second. But with disciplined people, disciplined thought, and disciplined action, each push builds on the last, and eventually, you get unstoppable momentum. This is our map for today's investigation.
All right, let's start digging. The very first push on that flywheel starts with the fundamentals: disciplined people and disciplined thought. You have to get this right, because honestly, everything else is built on top of this foundation.
And our first big clue comes down to leadership. Collins calls it level 5 leadership. Now, this isn't about those flashy celebrity CEOs you see on magazine covers. Nope. These leaders have this weird mix of being incredibly humble on a personal level, but having an absolutely ferocious, unstoppable will to see their company succeed. And this isn't just some business school theory, you know? You see it in action all over India. Think about Deepinder Goyal as a motto, who's been super open about learning from mistakes. Or Nitin Kamath at Zerodha, with his low-key, build-it-for-the-long-haul approach. It's a real pattern, and it sets the entire tone for the company. Leaders like this live by a super simple but powerful rule. First who, then what. They're obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with getting the right people on the bus, and just as importantly, getting the wrong people off. Only after they have the right team in place do they worry about where the bus is actually going. And this disciplined team culture leads to disciplined thought, which is summed up perfectly by something called the Stockdale paradox. It's this two-sided coin. On one side, you have to look at the cold, hard, brutal facts of your reality, no matter how ugly they are. But, and this is key, on the other side, you have to maintain an unshakable faith that you will succeed in the end. It's that tension that builds real resilience.
Okay, so we've got the right people and the right mindset. That's push number 1 on the flywheel. Now for the next big one. Finding that one single thing you can be the best at, and then executing with absolute relentless discipline. And this idea is captured beautifully by the hedgehog concept. So the story goes, the fox is clever and knows a little about a lot of things. He's always chasing different targets. But the hedgehog, he only knows one big thing: how to roll into a ball and defend himself perfectly. And in the end, the hedgehog always wins. Great companies are hedgehogs. So what does this have to do with DOMS? Well, look at this. Their hedgehog concept is crystal clear. Be the best in India at mass writing and scale execution. Period. Now look at their competitors. It's kind of fuzzy, right? They're more like foxes chasing a bunch of different things without a single core strength. And you can see this laser focus clear as day in their products. DOMS is all about writing instruments and the core school stuff. The competition, man, they're into everything. They're all over the place, and that just dilutes their effort and what they stand for. And here's where it all comes together. That disciplined thought, knowing they're the best at scale, translates directly into disciplined action. They've built this incredible distribution network that goes deep into Tier 2, 3, and 4 India. Meanwhile, their rivals are mostly stuck in the big cities. This is what relentless, consistent execution looks like. So, we've looked at the disciplined people, the thought, the action, all those pushes on the flywheel. Now it's time for the big reveal. What actually happens when that flywheel starts spinning on its own? What's the payoff in the real world?
So, all this focus, all this discipline, what does it all add up to?
It builds this. Just wow. Take a look at the market cap. That's the total value of the company. DOMS is in a completely different league. It's not just a little ahead, it absolutely dwarfs the competition. But if you want the one number that really tells the story, it's this: Return on Capital Employed, or ROCE. This basically measures how efficiently a company uses its money to make more money. Super important for a manufacturing business. DOMS is clocking in at an incredible 26.18%. That is just world-class efficiency right there. And that brings us right back to where we started. At the end of the day, greatness isn't some magic trick. It's not one lucky break. It's just 1,000 small, consistent, disciplined steps that compound over time until they create that powerful, unstoppable momentum. So here's a thought to leave you with. The next time you're looking at a business, any business, try to look past the noise. Ask yourself, are they a hedgehog or a fox? Do they have a culture of discipline? And most importantly, are they quietly, day after day, pushing their flywheel? Because those are the ones to watch.